It's the 15th Headies for the first time in the US.
I mean, I don't know what's going on, to be honest. If you plan something that horribly, or if you execute that horribly, you execute plans that horribly, there are bound to be problems like that. So that wasn't exactly surprising. It was just heart-wrenching. It was befuddling and it was saddening that, look, shout out to Douglas Jacob. A lot of people understand, listen to this will know Douglas Jacob, OG, who works with Beat FM. He was saying something yesterday that, look, my biggest concern now is, now you have invited the international artists into our space, right? You invited them in. But are they going to stay being fans? Will they come next year? Because the production is horrible. Now you've done all this hype, but is the show good? Like there were some spells yesterday where the TV went off. Yeah, there were spells yesterday when there was someone that I can't remember, someone that was presenting an award or something, and the person had to run back to go and collect the rights winners. Bro, it was bad. There was even someone that was announcing a show on stage, an award on stage, and they didn't allow the person to speak before they went into the nominees. Like some of these mistakes, and the fact that Buju and Ckay were singing off key yesterday. Buju sang off key when he was performing Feeling, I believe, if I'm not wrong. He went off key. Even though he performed a riveting session, a solo session, when he performed an acoustic version of In My Mind, people knew that he could sing. But if those artists were going off key, perhaps maybe the earphones that they gave them were not working or something. Or maybe it was also their fault. Because, bruv, that was not a good show. Let's not lie to ourselves. If I was American, if I was the president of the Headies, I mean, he was laughing yesterday with them. Let's be politically correct. But when I leave there, I'll be like, man, that's the worst award show I've ever been to. Because it was bad. It wasn't great.
You don't buy off key. You shouldn't give your word off key. Maybe in a stunt.
Wow.
But that happened. So, who is Buju in the scheme of things?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay. So, those are the things you didn't like in the entire thing.
Yeah.
That sounds well. So, but let's talk about the contentious wins.
Yeah. So I feel like one thing that people need to understand here is the members of the audience now. One, people need to look at the definition of awards and the description before we start having arguments. Right? One. Number two, Iron needs to decipher whether we are awarding the best Nigerian music and Nigerian artists in Nigeria, and the best Nigerian music and Nigerian artists, period. Those are two different conversations now, because there's mileage on Nigerian music. It's not 2012 anymore, where Nigerian music was mostly big in Nigeria and in certain parts of Africa. And even then, we're still awarding things that are made in Nigeria. So now, we need to make a distinction. And it needs to be clear. For example, the first contentious category that a lot of people felt was contentious yesterday, they felt it was about recency bias, was Goya Meno winning Straight Up Artist of the Year for Amina Amapiano over songs like maybe KPK. People felt like that was a problem. Now, I understand, personally, 3 years ago, I would have gone off, but now, the thing about journalism is as you get older, you get to speak with a lot of people, you get to think about things more rationally. The category simply says an award that infuses street lingo and has a lot of impact, something like that, right? But street lingo, both records infuse street lingo. You Want to Bamba was a whole thing. And Kokpoke was a whole thing. OPP was basically from that song. Do you understand?
Yeah.
OPG was from that song, was from KPK as well. So the thing about, if you were going to say, a lot of people are going to say, oh my God, Goya Meno that's first of all, that's recency bias. The year KPK came out, there was no Dirty December. So there was no way for us to measure the right impact of that song, but still, that song was huge. So now, people are going to then say, in terms of, when you then put them on a scale, there's literally no difference. It could go either way. But when you then look at certain things that happen for Goya Meno, international success, They had international success, relative international success. Maybe it wasn't the greatest, but I remember there was a time when people were saying that it could crack the Billboard Hot 100. It was that hot. There were projections like that. So and then the TikTok impact of that song, which KPK obviously didn't have. Social media impact, digital impact, and then, but at the same time, KPK didn't have the major label backing that Ameno and Mapiano had. But again, we can't go there. We can only say a lot of majors put a lot of support behind certain records and they don't work. But every song worked, we have to give credit to it. So again, I'm not saying that Ameno didn't deserve it. I'm just saying that people should stop saying it was clear. It wasn't clear like that. KPK could have also won it. Then the second category that I thought people were saying, oh, lyricist on the road was contentious. I don't think it was. Which Ckay won. I really don't think so. I guess where people are coming from in the sense of, oh, it could go to maybe Vector or Ladipo. I get it. To be honest, I'm not saying they're wrong. But the thing is, the nitty-gritty of lyricism, if I were to award it, I'll give it to Ckay for that category. I think in terms of the verses that I prefer, I like Providence a lot, Ladipo's Providence. I love it. That's the only song that I love on the album, on Ladipo's EP, Providence EP. On Vector, I thought Vector's verse on, what is it called, was a ridiculous verse. I think, in terms of a verse that I enjoy, that I will go back to a lot, I'll probably go back to Vector's verse on Crown of Clay a lot. But in terms of lyricism, raw lyricism, I'll give it to Ckay. And it's lyricism that they're awarding, nothing else, right? Another thing that I would go to, people were saying about the alternative album win, which Ibeji won for Intermission. People were saying Brimo should have won that. So people also saying another a big album was also in that category, which was Basket Mouth. Yeah, Yabasi was in that category. Yeah. So first things first, I believe this was a non-voting category, if I'm not wrong. I believe it's a non-voting category. Even if it was a voting category, no, it's definitely a non-voting category because Ibeji won it. It comes down to quality of the album. The quality of the album. And guess what? It could go in any direction. Just because Basket Mouth's album is a classic, it's going to be a classic. But it's because it also has way more commercial success than Ibeji's album. A lot of people that are criticizing haven't listened to Ibeji's album. Intermission is a ridiculous album. It's a really, really good album. Now, if I would have awarded any album in that category, I would probably have given it to 9S on myself. But my brother, Brimo was not there. I mean, it was already bad that a lot of the superstars were not there to receive their awards. Now, imagine Brimo himself not being there. Like, I'm not saying he played a role, but I'm saying he wasn't there. So the game is at this point the game is the game. But the biggest grouse that I had with in this award was Patoranking winning Best Reggae Dancehall album. I thought that was ridiculous. Maybe not ridiculous because I think it's a voting category. It's definitely a voting category. So the Patoranking impact or the Patoranking name might have played a role in that. Because let's not lie to ourselves, it's a bigger artist than the person that I'm about to mention, which is Young Girl. Young Girl's Yardman King Size is the best album in that category. Plain and simple. It's simply the best reggae dancehall album that came out during the year review. Plain and simple. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. So with Patoranking winning, I don't have a problem with Patoranking winning Recording of the Year because I don't celebrate me. It's an incredible record. But this, no. But maybe it was probably because it was a voting category, so maybe. Then Tems winning Best Female. Again, it comes down to, is this award in Nigerian music? Generally, which would encompass national categories, or are we awarding Nigerian music in Nigeria, but while the award is being held in Atlanta? That is to be clear. Because was Tems the biggest female artist during the year, Nigerian artist in Nigeria during the year review? Not even close. Not remotely close. Was Tems the biggest Nigerian artist during the year review across board? National, when you're including international markets? Yes. In Nigeria, I'm not even sure she was top 3. To be honest, I'm really not sure. Ayra Starr had a better run.
Yeah.
Tiwa Savage had a better run. Tems also won Best R&B album. Not sure.
Crazy things.
Ayra Starr's album is an R&B album. Ayra Starr's album is an R&B album. I mean, I think they nominated in pop category. I'm not sure, but Ayra Starr's album should have been in the R&B category, and it should have won that category. It was a bigger album in Nigeria, and also had bigger hits. Bloody Samaritan. What are we doing here? Best digital artist that Davido won. I don't understand that. Ckay should have simply won that. Let's move on. Ckay has the biggest song. I mean, maybe people are then going to calculate like Davido's number of songs that were there, but the digital artist during the year in review was Ckay. I don't understand why Ckay didn't win that. Maybe because they did it in Davido's hometown of Atlanta, possibly. Burna Boy's win for best male artist and Afrobeat artist of the year. Again, it comes down to, is it Nigeria or is it across board? If it's across board, Burna Boy is possibly the #1 Nigerian artist right now. But in terms of the album that actually scattered ground during the year, it was made in Lagos. It was made in Lagos. Burna Boy's album was not made for us here. Twice I saw that came out during the year review was not made for us here. Made in Lagos was the biggest album during the year review. Burna Boy didn't have an essence during the year review. So what are we doing here? It should have been Wiz, but again, Ayra Starr. Songwriter of the year, I believe Bimo should have won that. Viewer's choice, that Ayra Starr won, Ayra Starr season. It's another Ayra Starr award because Essence was in that category. Viewer's choice, bro. It's a voting category. It's a voting category, yes. But do you think Ayra Starr would be Wizkid in a vote? Nobody's beating. It's be like Mo Salah. Nobody's beating Wizkid in a voting category. It's not possible. It's not going to happen. Ayra Starr season. Song of the year for Essence. Again, what are we awarding? Biggest song in Nigeria or biggest Nigerian song? And even if it was biggest Nigerian song, people are going to say Love Quantity. Love Quantity wasn't released in the year review. It blew up during the year review, but it wasn't released during the year review. Now, the song of the year for Essence, I don't think it was Essence. Essence was not a top 5 song in Nigeria during the year review. It wasn't. I'm not even sure it was a top 7 song. But I think Wizkid should have won Afrobeat Artist of the Year. I really think so. I think he should have won Best Male Artist. Song of the Year, I don't think he should have won it. If we are judging by best song in Nigeria. Not best Nigerian about. So those are the things that I have.
We get that.
Yeah.
Do you think the Headies will ever return to Nigeria or Africa?
I would like to believe so. But knowing that your animal shall expect anything.
Bado.
Yeah.
What do you think about how Nigerian artists dress for the event?
Shout out to one of my OGs that I was speaking to again. I speak with a lot of people. I've had like 7 courses last night about the Headies. A lot of people were called to chastise me. A lot of people because I went off. No, I didn't go off on the space yesterday, to be honest. I was just dropping opinions. I don't think I've gone off in a few. I don't think so. So the thing is, Nigerian artists think they're exposed, but they're not exactly exposed. The way some of them dress today, if they were going to the Grammys, most of them would be in suits. Let's not lie to ourselves. It might be stylized. The suits might be styled differently, but they will go in suits, in jackets. But look at them at the Headies yesterday. Some of them were basically shirtless. You guys need to fix up about that. Shout out to Tems is going to write an article about it and compare, because there's a reason why the AMVCS is the #1 entertainment award in Nigeria right now. Let's not lie to ourselves, it's not the Headies anymore. It used to be the Headies. It's the AMVCS now. That's the #1 award in Nigerian entertainment right now. It's not the Headies anymore. This year took it away from the Headies permanently. Because the glitz and the glamour is there. The movie stars attend. The production is off the charts. And you can see people's emotion when they win. Headies ain't got none of that. The AMVCS shut down anytime. Look at everything that happened when AMVCS held this year. Look at the rollouts of the AMVCS. Look at the anticipation. When AMVCS are held, bro, people need to check the numbers on pulses back end. It's ridiculous.
Do you think awards push artists?
Yeah, awards can be like a discovery platform, discovery way for people to discover. Can, not always, can be a discovery mean. It means to discover artists and their music. It can. Not always, but it can. So I think that's basically about it. But commercial success is still the biggest discovery for any artist, because when the music is big enough, it's going to be on charts. People are going to talk about it on social media. So you don't even have to win an award to have a really, really big song.
What can your friend, your bestie, Ayo Adimatu do better?
This is never going to happen, right? But I feel the man needs to take away the Headies and turn it to different entities from hip TV, hip hop world, and smooth promotions. I feel like it should be like an incorporated trustees, where it has its own set of rules, it has its own board set of its own leadership that changes based on terms. They have terms, they get voted in by the members, and then every voting is transparent. So like every member has like a set of codes of conduct, things that are expected of them, and all that. I feel like that's the next step for the Headies. If he's smart, it needs to be democratized. It needs to be taken away from under him. And that's the only way it's going to happen, because then you can then have managers for each categories, you know? You can then have leaders, people that work in each category. That's the only way forward. That's the only way that this can work. Now, I understand why it can't be that big with this current system, because it's not as democratized right now. The Headies in the late 2000s, what I've gathered by speaking to the people that work close to the Headies is, they had problems of inclusion in the late 2000 and early 2010s. And then when they tried to make it as democratized and make it as wide as possible, they had a lot of people who seemed to be in the know, but when they came in with their biases and their agendas. So now they have to make the academy small, because now you can have people that can think rationally and make logical decisions. Now, but the problem is, you still need to make it big. Because if you make it big, you are going to make it people more involved. Now you can still have the academy that is a small circle of people that then vote on the final results that you have, right? They can then right the wrongs and the biases of the people, but you still need to make it big. That's what I think. So incorporated trustees. Now you can then you can even change the members from time to time. Maybe they have 2 or 3 or 4 year contracts, but that's the only way this can work. It's that simple.
That kind of sounds like the old Michelin stars thing, but no Nigerian will agree to that. You want to remove the name? Excuse me.
Exactly. That's what someone actually said yesterday. Like, he's not going to be in charge of the money. It's not going to happen. So.
Okay. People keep saying that we need an award, and well, we have one that was functioning and stopped functioning, and it's still trying. I don't understand how it's going. But is this the right time for anybody to have a new one? I
don't think so. Look, number one, Nigerian artists don't care about things like Nigeria right now. They don't care. They don't care. See, they don't care. Nigerian artists don't care because of the international wave that is going on. That's one. Number two, but the thing is, for any award to actually go up right now, you need the endorsement and the attendance of Nigerian artists. And you can only earn that by being around for a few years. And if people are not attending your award for the first few years, the awards, people are doing awards, people don't know that. There are lots of awards, but the problem is they don't have name. So nobody cares. Now, if you are then going to drag artists to your awards in the first few editions, that means you are not going to award the truth. You are going to be pandering. You are not even going to be doing the reacari. So if you have Whiskey come, you are probably going to give him 7 awards on the go. Do you understand? So that's and then for you to even drag Whiskey, maybe you are going to get private jets, you are going to book hotels, you are going to paint his nails, mani-pedi, buy him food. Do you understand? If you are picking people of that caliber, those are the things that you have to do. So no award can do that right now. It's not the right time, in my opinion. I don't think it's an opinion, it's a fact. It's not the right time for any award to spring up. However, if an award can spring up, I was thinking with another one of my audios, it was saying, what any award has to do right now is very simple. I'm talking realistically now. You need to award younger people, the younger artists. Leave the big artists out. Focus on the younger artists. That's how you then build up. Because young artists might be interested now. Usually the first, second, and third, fourth years. But the ones that have been here for 10 years, they don't care because they're making money. So the younger ones, you can still get them to attend. You can. It's not set in stone, but you can still get them to attend. So focus on those guys, and maybe, just maybe, you can get something to pull off. But the problem is, an award is not easy to pull off. And that's why nobody's attempting it. A lot of awards have been around. Animation has been his own award. He's still here. He's still the only one that's here. It's not a coincidence. That's why I must give him credit for the consistency, but it's not going to get credit for the ways he's executing the awards. And that's facts only.